I'm Victoria Hurth, and I am an independent pracademic working very deliberately across theory and practice to work out and help us move forward at speed so that we can align our organisational decisions very deliberately with a sustainable future. In other words, long-term well-being for everyone.
Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm a lawyer at ClientEarth, which is an environmental legal NGO working on issues like climate change and greenwashing. At ClientEarth, we focus a lot on greenwashing, and we focus on that issue and the work of advertising in society today because we think the advertising industry has an absolutely essential role to play in messaging the future that we need.
So communication agencies and professionals are, I'd say, some of the most powerful people in the world. The power of communications, however, is very underestimated. It's one of the reasons that we are in such a mess, in fact, because we've taken our eye off the ball. We've given huge budgets to people to essentially shape our identities, our societal way of behaving, and our cultures without thinking about the consequence of what that means when you do that for profit over long periods of time.
The advertising industry is incredibly important because it holds the keys to getting information in society correct when it comes to transition, when it comes to climate change. One of the things that we've worked on is cases that look at advertising strategies that particularly high polluting industries put out and how they conflict with the laws that we have. We've been excited to work on this report because it's important that the ad industry gets ahead of those rules and starts to really unlock the possibilities when you know the facts and you can communicate really compellingly about the future that we need.
So as you know, tonight, Creatives for Climate are launching their Anti-Greenwash guide for agency leaders. I was an advisor on that report, and it's a brilliant one-stop shop guide to supercharging your knowledge on this fast-moving space. Because if you're in the business of doing good, it's really important that as a minimum, you're not doing harm. And that's much harder than it sounds. So this is the guide to go to make sure that you are in a good place in order to be able to go to the next level, the more important level, which is how do we really drive our long-term collective well-being at speed.
So I'm speaking to you tonight because I've been working on the Creatives Climate for Climate report with them. And the thing I've been really trying to get across in that work is that when you look under the bonnet of law and regulation at the moment, you see a massive shift. There is a big crackdown in law on greenwashing, and new rules are coming out everywhere, starting in the EU, that are going to make that a lot more of a real thing for everybody. What we need, however, is for people to see those laws coming and to go beyond them. And that's why I think it's so important to team up for Creatives for Climate to do the thinking that begins here in this report.
My role in the report was really to shape that sort of relationship between greenwashing, which is the sort of do no harm agenda, which is absolutely vital, really hard, but just the minimum, and what is beyond greenwashing. So bringing in that sort of purpose-driven, innovation-oriented approach, which is by far the most important aspect, because we are not going to legislate greenwashing out of the system without purpose, and we're certainly not going to innovate the solutions that we need.
So in working with Creatives for Climate on this report, I came to realise that the most important thing that I could perhaps point out about the law is that it really requires claims to actually be backed up by the evidence. And that sounds like a scary thing to say, but it's actually kind of a liberating thing, because it makes you realise that if you know the evidence and you're confident about that, then the communication is both lawful but has the potential for change in people's minds and hearts as well. And so my big lesson from working on this report and on litigation and regulation in this space is to really make sure that you're confident you can get on top of the key facts that you need to consider for the claim that you're making.
We can't unify around nothing. We have to unify around something that's clear and that represents the goal, the destination of what good looks like. And up until recently, that has been really hard to find. It's been a very messy, chaotic space. But I can tell you now that actually we have the basis of that clarity and of that consensus. And for me, it is in the form of purpose-driven organizations, a term which you will have heard of, and you will have heard about it in messy, fluffy ways. But purpose is now getting serious. And I've been working on standards, which I'm really looking forward to help you all engage with as you would like, and for you to help co-create, which say, how do we govern our decisions so that they are aligned with long-term well-being for all, in other words, sustainability, and at the same time in delivering our purpose to really try and innovate for that we don't destroy the basis of it, that we don't do harm to our long-term well-being. And that really is an organization that's fully aligned with a sustainable future. That is a purpose-driven organization. Anything less than that, and we're essentially going backwards, not forwards. So I want to leave you with that message that this is not the chaotic space that we have known. This is a place where we can build consensus together, that foundation of clarity to be courageous. And Creatives for Climate are playing a central role in helping bring your energies together to build your courage and your clarity so that you can move forward at speed. And I'm very much looking forward to being part of that journey.
If I've got one message for people in the room, and it's speaking as somebody who's been a lawyer for well over 10 years now and has worked on these issues for some time, is that we really need you. We need people who are able to do the thing that lawyers and courtrooms can only go so far in doing, which is to communicate much better on these issues and to give people the messages of hope that we need to get through this moment.